just meet your needs.
Okay, so this is a top sirloin. So we're gonna pull off of this the culotte, and then the baseballs and top sirloin steaks, and then our lumberjacks. So the lumberjacks come off the mouthpiece. There is a seam right here that I'm gonna cut into just a little bit, and then I'll separate it with my hands to make sure I'm on the right seam. So I'm gonna peel this back. And cut off this mouthpiece, which is just that piece. So I'll set that aside. And I'll get some of this other trim out of the way. There's a little bit of a fat cap right here that I'm gonna peel off to open up the side of here. So I'm only cutting down a little bit to release that fat cap. And then that separates off the culotte from the rest of the top sirloin. So with this culotte piece or the picanha piece, I'll pull this triangle of fat off the back. Oops. And then I'm just gonna trim up the fat. I'm gonna leave all of that fat cap on there. I'll trim down the front of this silver skin. And pull off this silver skin. So that is ready for the case. And then the rest of this fat, I'm gonna take off. So I'm cutting this, I'll turn my knife up against the fat so that I'm only taking off fat. So I get my knife just right under where that layer is. And then I turn my knife into the fat and put pressure on there so that I'm not gouging into the meat. Okay, so now you can see the seam that comes through right here for the baseball side and the regular top sirloin side. So I'm gonna look for this piece right here, and I'll make a mark. And then on this back side, there is this seam that you can barely see. So if you can't really find it, I'm gonna take a little bit of a cut off, and then I'll open that up so it's right there. So I'm gonna go from here to there. I'm gonna make a slight line just to open that seam. And then as I'm cutting on there, I'll cut that piece off, and then I'll clean up this trim. To get that piece ready. And then cutting out this silver skin. Just cut that off. And I square the front of this off, and then this is ready for steaks. So I'll cut our regular top sirloin steaks out of this piece. We also use this for kebabs. So I've got 4 top sirloin steaks that we'll put out in the case. These back pieces we'll lean out and put into kebabs. And then this is where we get our baseballs. So I'll cut this just into 4 pieces. We do our baseball steaks a lot thicker so we can bacon wrap them. So we've got 4 baseballs there. So Our next piece is to get the lumberjack out of this piece. So leaning this out, this is the outside and this is the inside that I peeled off. We want to get this muscle out. So you can see that silver skin on the top. It tells us where it's going. So I'm going to peel again with my hands so that I don't cut into anything I don't want to. I'll peel the rest of this trim off of here. This is the gluteus accessorius muscle. So there is a podcast called the MeatsPad Podcast that goes over this whole thing. So Sierra Jeppson is a meat scientist that broke the top sirloin all down and found out that this muscle right here retains more water and is more tender out of anything else in the entire piece. So we started selling these. We call them lumberjack steaks, and we pack them 4 per pack, and they are fantastic. So nice little top sirloin steak. So we can get $9 a pound out of that versus the kebab meat or the trim that would normally go into, which is only $4 or $5. So there is the top sirloin breakdown.
Let us meet your needs.